What's under this handkerchief? Stay tuned to find out on the Retro Hunting Adventures.
Yo, this is MegaManFan, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
I'm your host, Mr. MegaManFan, and we are not sponsored by Jack Daniels nor by Pop Culture, but I did pick up these games from Pop Culture, including Hercules, for only $5.99. The label's a bit rough, but all we care about is the game. Does it work? Let's find out. I bought this one in the non-backlit, non-visible Game Boy Advance and realized that would be very hard to see, so I'm switching to emulated footage for it, but I can confirm it was a working cartridge. Now, is it a working game is more the question here, because it's clunky, to put it nicely. Hercules moves very slowly, which is a trope of Game Boy games, but considering he's a legendary hero and all, this is a rather unimpressive walk cycle. And constantly, Phil is interrupting to tell you things like, look for bonuses in the trees, look out for fireballs, look out for really slow gameplay. Oh, and by the way, you've only got two moves. You can jump or you can swing your sword. And so when you want to climb, you just got to get next to something and you can sort of climb your way over it. But that's the limitations of only having an A and B and a select and a start with the D-pad. This isn't even Game Boy Advance, so there are no shoulder buttons here. That icon looked like an enemy that I was supposed to attack, but I guess it was a Hercules power-up drink of some sort. This could be fun if it did some things differently, like, for example, if it came out a year later and was a Game Boy Color game, so at least it was a little more visually impressive. It's also annoying that I can only climb to the top of that rope and not up to the branch that it's hanging from. That's dumb. Let's be real about this. Hercules is a classic Disney animated movie from the 90s. It's definitely one you should go out of your way to see if you haven't already seen it. But there are many better ways to play Hercules. I would play it on the PlayStation instead of this, because, man, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't play well. It's just not a great experience. And when he says I need to do better than that, I agree. I'm going to do better than that by playing something else right now. Let's have a look at the next item up on our list, which is Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. It was only $5, but that's in part due to the fact there is no manual inside. But since I don't have Lego Batman 2, I decided I can live with that for now and upgrade it later, especially since it's a very affordable price, and a lot of the times the Wii U instruction manuals are barely even manuals. Sometimes they're just a sheet telling you, look up the instructions online. There's good news and bad news here. The good news is you can see it's a tested and working game from the Wii U gamepad. The bad news is there is so much copyrighted music and footage in Lego Batman 2 that I can't really show you any of the gameplay. I'm sorry. Let's move on to something I can show you more of, which is PGA Tour 96 for the original Sony PlayStation. And it's in one of those Sega Saturn, Sega CD style long boxes. I really enjoy these. They're such an oddity compared to the majority of PlayStation games that I own. And this is, in fact, the way PlayStation games used to be sold when it first came out. They didn't switch to the gem-style boxes until much later on, so there's quite a few early PlayStation games that use this box. Now look at this list of pros. Davis Love III, Fuzzy Zeller. I think those are about the only names I recognize. No Tiger Woods in this one. I guess this was before he went pro and started to win match after match, tournament after tournament, year after year. It's just too early for Tiger. So it's not too early for an insert. We've got one with all the various Electronic Arts games that are available for PlayStation or coming soon. And let's see, whoops, let's see what's inside and find out what they're promoting right now. It's tabbed out. You can see Prowler from Origin on one tab. On the next tab, you can see Shockwave Assault from EA Studios. I like when games come with these kind of bonus inserts. Now, my longtime friend Sir Crunch knows that my favorite kind of golf games are the ones that have really arcade-style controls that are really simple and intuitive to use. I'm not much for playing a realistic simulator of golf. Like, if you gave me a golf club and told me to swing it and that it would be a virtual simulation and that my character would swing it on the screen, I'd miss every single time. But if you give me a power meter that goes straight up and down, you hit it at the top to get the maximum power, you hit it before it gets back to the bottom to get your maximum accuracy, I can deal with that. I like that style of golf, at least in a video game. Unfortunately, PGA Tour 96 is trying a little too hard for the realism factor, which, if you love golf, great. If you love golf video games, that may be great for you too, but here it's making you watch the bar very carefully and you get very little margin for error. If you don't tap it right at the exact time, you're going to go over or under on your power. Look how difficult that is to finesse getting the top and the bottom of the meter. I actually got a decent drive off the tee there. I wasn't really expecting to. I guess I came close enough. But in some of the other golf games you can play on home consoles, they give you a little margin for error around the top and the bottom of the meter. It doesn't seem to be any kind of margin for error here. As you can see, I'm going to miss wildly on this shot. Ah, yes. And there's not much in terms of presentation here as far as like background audio to enhance it or the sound of birds chirping or pretty much anything. You've got pixelated trees, a pixelated golfer. You've got a top-down overhead view of your shot over there on the left showing where you are on the course and where the ball went. It would be more interesting if it was like a helicopter zoom that followed the ball where it went, which it's not going to do because I guess the PlayStation didn't have the power for that, or they didn't engineer it in this version of PGA Tour golf. So maybe when it gets to Tiger Woods golf, it's going to be a little more sophisticated, but right now, seeing the ball drop down on the green is the best you can hope for. And now I get to putt it in and try to get a birdie. Once again, really hard to read that power bar, so I'm going to miss here. I'm going to overshoot the hole. And it's also expecting you to make a read and adjust. You're supposed to read whether the green is sloped right or left and putt accordingly. Again, that's just not my thing. I don't like having to finesse when I play golf games that much. I just want to hit the ball around and have some fun, not the tedium of club selection, engaging the wind, and reading the slopes. It's a good golf game, it's just not my cup of tea. Last but not least, we have one that didn't come from pop culture. This is Shakedown Hawaii, a Wii U game released in 2020. Will wonders never cease? I didn't even find out Vblank was doing this until after it already came out and had sold out, so unfortunately I paid the markup price on eBay, which was $60 for the non-special edition that doesn't come with a DVD slipcase and downloadable soundtrack. But the game is what I care about. It's the game, the manual, in the box, complete. So let's go ahead and pop this one in the Wii U and see what it's all about. Now, honestly, you can probably buy the digital edition of this for, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks, something like that on the Wii U eShop. So you probably don't need to own a physical copy unless you're a Wii U collector like I am. But I would say that out of all 4 games I'm featuring on this week's Retro Hunting Adventure, this is the only one I can give an absolute unqualified endorsement to. So if you don't want to buy the physical, definitely go out of your way and look for it digital. If you don't have a Wii U, it looks like one of those games that would have been ported to many different platforms. So I'm sure it's available on PS4 or Switch or Xbox One or whatever you like, because it's going to be fun no matter what you play it on, because it's a simple premise with simple controls and you can get into the action right away without having to change too many things. I mean, you've got some options here for audio and video settings, which again I would assume are universal to any console that it's on, but nothing too fancy. It's If you've played Retro City Rampage, it's that type of game. Top down, you're moving around a map, you're trying to collect items and beat up other people and make your getaway when things get hairy. It's almost a demake of Grand Theft Auto. And I don't mean like Grand Theft Auto 3 and up, because we all know those are more immersive 3D games. I mean like the original top-down Grand Theft Auto. It's a pixelated version of that. And here you can see my character is causing havoc. He's beating up a clerk in a convenience store. He's smashing all the displays. He's just wrecking the place and racking up points for doing so. It's that kind of game where you just drop in and start having fun, and then you're on the run because the law enforcement comes looking for you because you caused all this havoc. So he's gonna kick my butt here because I wasn't prepared for that. Yep, I'm dead. But that's the nice thing about arcade style games like this is you just get right back in the action. I take a car, I take it for a spin, and now I get to cause even more mayhem than I did in the convenience store. I'm knocking people off the road, I'm running over pedestrians, which I assume are bad guys because I'm getting points for that, or in this case, I'm the bad guy, but they're also bad guys, so I'm taking out rival bad guys. So I'm not necessarily a good guy here, I'm an anti-hero, but it's a fun experience if you just want to get into a groove and not ponder too much the ambiguity of the situation, I suppose. You don't have to be a good guy or a bad guy. You can just be the character that's scoring points by running around and taking out enemies and enjoying yourself and having a good time and trying to survive the onslaught of cops who all want you dead. But now I'm armed with a gun, so I've got a fighting chance. I can actually shoot at them instead of just getting taken out. And when you shoot them and they die, you can take their weapons and ammo and cause even more mayhem. So there's no shortage of ways you can keep the action rolling in a game like Shakedown Hawaii. And I'm not even doing the story mode here. I'm just doing the pick up and play mode. But man, it is a trip. It's got everything I'd want. It's got a good visual aesthetic. The sounds are very pleasing. The style of the gameplay is fast and frantic. I would say go out of your way for this. I think I already said that, but yes, Shakedown Hawaii is a very enjoyable game. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Thanks for watching the Retro Hunting Adventures, and I will see you again in another episode in about 7 days. That's all for now. Take care, beware, be safe, wear a mask, take care of yourself and others.